Mystery Mogul. Mystery Mogul on a Thursday afternoon. Jenna, what are we talking about today?
Today we have a story of a widowed concert violinist who meets a man at a bar and then disappears, never to be seen again.
Oh, that's a mysterious sentence, isn't it? Never to be seen again. One more time. A concert pianist,
Violinist.
Violinist.
who met a man at a bar, and then she was never to be seen again.
Yes.
Interesting. All right, Jonah, are you ready?
Yes.
Let us begin.
In 1996, violinist Margie Jelovcic's life seemed ideal. She was a happy newlywed planning for a bright future with her husband, Nasser, in Detroit. But just 6 months after their wedding, Nasser passed away in a traffic accident. Shattered, Margie decided to move back to Gary, Indiana. Margie immersed herself in her new job. She managed the night shift at the tavern owned by her mother. This is where she first encountered a biker named Randy Yeager. Yeager was a high-ranking member of a notorious biker gang, the Outlaws. He had an outgoing, scruffy charm, an air of danger, which was attractive to the vulnerable young widow. But Yeager's charisma covered up a darker side to his personality. Margie had no idea he was an ex-convict with a long criminal record. He and other members of the Outlaws were under investigation for racketeering, drug dealing, and murder. Soon after they met, Margie began dating Yeager. Her family is not sure if or when Margie found out about his criminal past. The only thing they know for certain was that she began to change. She became distant, paranoid, and began to shelter herself away from society. 3 months later, Margie left with Yeager on a trip to Las Vegas. At that very moment, United States Marshals had already begun an operation to arrest Yeager and several members of the Outlaws.
Wow.
17 members of the gang were indicted for a Midwest crime spree that included bombings, robberies, and 6 murders, but U.S. Marshals had been unable to locate Randy Yeager. 2 weeks passed, then Margie returned to Gary. Her family was relieved, but Margie became even more paranoid. She complained that she felt as if she was constantly being watched. She also insisted that her house had been bugged by the government. When her sister, Nadine, hadn't heard from her sister, for several days she went to her house. Nadine was concerned to find many personal items that Margie always took when traveling. Margie's car was also left abandoned in the driveway. So why did Margie Jelovcic suddenly leave? Was it of her own free will, or was there something more sinister going on?
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a tragic story because she had a very successful career.
Yes.
She's a concert violinist.
Yeah.
Obviously very intelligent and very cultured, I would assume as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then she lost her husband, and then that would just destroy you emotionally, right?
Yeah.
It would destroy your life. And then how long after the passing of, I mean, this isn't necessarily the most important point, but I'm just curious, how long after the passing of her husband did she meet Randy Yeager?
I think it was in a couple months after losing
Okay,
him.
so she would have been extremely vulnerable
Exactly.
at that time. She met Yeager, decided to give him a shot,
Ah,
but it turns out Mr. Yeager was a bomb.
pun intended. Wow. Ba-dum-bum.
That was 2 parts that you didn't see
How
coming.
did you come up with
I
that?
had that ready whilst you were reading the story.
Oh my goodness me.
So back to the story. So they fall in love, right? And she has no clue that he's a member. She knows he's a biker.
She knows he's a biker and he's a regular at her mom's tavern,
Okay.
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 but
Yeah.
she didn't know that he had this huge criminal past.
Sure, and it said that the story said that he was very charming, very charismatic, and that was hiding everything else, all of his dirty secrets.
Exactly.
But then things get weird because the government's investigating this biker group. Did he get arrested?
No.
Okay.
not.
He just disappeared.
He just disappeared.
He disappeared. She came back to her hometown.
She came back to her hometown, but her entire personality had changed. She didn't want to speak to anybody in her family. She wanted to just lock herself away, but she constantly complained about being watched and being listened to.
Okay. And then she just disappeared.
And then one day she just disappeared.
And her sister went to her house, and some of the stuff that would typically be gone for someone who went on vacation or went somewhere.
Yeah, basically all of her important personal items, her passport, her phone, and her car were all still in the house.
Everything was there,
Yeah,
but she was
but
gone.
she was not.
Very suspicious.
Super. I want to know where Randy went. Maybe we'll find out when we come back. All right, so Margie, after coming back to her hometown, she was there for a while, but her personality totally had changed, and then she just disappeared. Randy wasn't in the scene at the time. After she came back to her hometown, he had already disappeared, right?
Yeah, because they had gone on this trip together to Las Vegas, and then the operation with the U.S. government happened, and he disappeared, but Margie was left there.
So she doesn't know whether he was arrested or whether he just took off.
Yeah. So that's why she, in her shock, she returned back to her hometown, but the damage was already done.
Yeah, right. Okay, so then what happens next? The sister goes to her apartment, but she's gone. Her personal belongings are still at her house. What happens after that?
So this all happened in 1996.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of news media coverage in the Indiana area trying to look for her,
Yeah.
given all the information that they had. Also, the mother, the sister, everybody had met Randy Yeager because he was a regular at the tavern. But then it was announced by the U.S. government that he was on the top 15 most wanted criminal list.
I mean,
Okay, I blame the FBI. They clearly didn't do a good enough of a job to let people know that he was one of the most wanted. Because if so, then wouldn't someone have recognized his face at the least?
That was what I said.
well, I mean, you can go right now onto your computer and go onto the FBI's website and see the most wanted list if you want to.
Yeah.
But I mean, they don't publish it everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not Margie's fault. I mean, if you meet someone in a grocery store or a bar or a coffee shop and the guy or the girl is charming, the last thing on your mind is, oh, maybe they're part of a major criminal ring.
Yeah.
Right? It wouldn't even come to mind.
Exactly.
No, I'm saying like the FBI should have done a better job in letting people know. So not that we have to go to their website, but even if we don't, it'll be on milk cartons or cereal boxes, things like that.
They don't do that though, do they?
I don't think they don't.
Yeah, they don't publish that kind of information openly to people.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that kind of knowledge should be more commonly known.
So the main concern for her family was, did she willingly go with him and disappear, or was she kidnapped and taken against her will?
But you would think if she willingly went with him, that her personal belongings like passport, phone, those other things would have been with her. Unless, Kate,
Yes.
phones can be tracked. Passport has your real name.
Yes.
Exactly.
Maybe there was a false identity created for her.
Maybe.
Right.
So over the years, her parents never jumped to the conclusion that she had passed away or anything because there had been mysterious phone calls to the tavern. You know, those ominous, hello, breathing over the phone and then hanging up.
Yeah.
That had happened consistently over the years. So her parents never gave up hope.
They believed it was her calling.
Exactly. Now, there is a resolution to this story.
Oh.
In 2014, in Rosarito, Mexico,
Okay.
a couple who resembled Randy and Margie were seen at a bar
Okay.
in the local area. So someone tipped off the local authorities, and when they went up to approach them, the couple was like, oh no, I think his name was Steve, and her name was something else. But the problem was they were a well-known couple that had been living in this city for a long time.
Okay, so they were well known in the community.
Yeah.
Okay.
And people around them were saying, oh, why are they being questioned by the police? They
Yeah.
are so-and-so.
Yeah.
But then, as the police pressed further, Margie
Yeah.
Broke
she broke character,
Oh.
and she revealed that it was her. And because the government was actually looking for Randy,
Yeah.
Margie freaked out, ran away, got in a car, and then that sparked a huge high-speed highway chase.
OM goodness.
Which then caused Margie to lose control of her car
Oh no.
and
no.
roll off the highway.
Oh no.
Did she die?
She passed away.
Oh no.
And then because of her outburst, I guess, Randy was left being like, oh, well, she gave it up. And then the police
They arrested
him and extradited him back to
Oh,
the U.S.
I thought it was like, well, she gave it up, and because it was probably highly televised, this chase, right? He would have been like spooked, and I thought he made a run for it and then escaped authorities again, but I guess not.
She did that, I guess.
Yeah, so when the police were questioning them, the police were in front of them, and only she ran.
Oh.
And for some reason, Randy stayed with the police.
Yeah.
But the jig was up, and they caught him.
Wow.
Oh, that's
so
insane.
when she took off, she ran straight to a car, and I'm guessing like one officer or two officers chased her. Other officers stayed with Randy.
Yeah.
So and Randy got extradited back to the United States.
And then it was a huge case where he finally got charged for all of his past crimes.
And being on the run.
And being on the run
from
of
the
course.
FBI.
Wow.
He's still in prison now?
Yeah, he is.
But it's like a romance story, right? Because
It
it's
is
like
a romance
they
story.
ran away from the U.S. to dodge the authorities, but have this new life as a romantic couple, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
I mean, I feel like that's the story that he sold to her.
Okay.
And being that she was already so influenced by him, she followed it.
She was in love with him.
Now, one more really unfortunate fact is that the people that knew them in Mexico had noticed that they were always carrying like guns with them.
Okay.
But everybody just assumed, oh, they're just country Americans. Like, that's just what they do.
It's just what Americans do. Okay. All right.
But
is that the worldwide assumption?
I guess so.
But it was revealed by Randy that actually they had a suicide pact with each other.
Oh, what?
Where if the police ever did find them,
Wow.
that they would not
Well, then
let
he
them be
didn't keep
caught.
his end of the deal.
And exactly, he didn't keep his end.
Goodness me. And he's still in prison today. And unfortunately, Margie lost her life. What a story that is.
Yeah.
How did I not hear about this? That would have been massive news in the United States.
Exactly.
All right, thanks for that, Jonah. A very interesting mystery Mogi Wheel today. Stay with us for hours.